Secret unfolds, Waitress reveals shocking truth about her billionaire father at 3 a.m. The clock struck 3, echoing through the empty diner like a siren's call. The fluorescent lights flickered and buzzed, casting a ghostly glow that danced across the cold vinyl seats. In that moment, Mia stood behind the counter, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Sweat trickled down her brow, not from the heat of the grill but from the weight of a secret, a bombshell that twisted in her gut like a viper. Tonight was different. Tonight, someone would learn her truth. Outside, the night was draped in heavy darkness, but inside the diner, shadows swirled. Something about this night felt charged, electric. It was as if the universe was holding its breath. Mia glanced out the window, her heart racing at the sight of a sleek black car idling nearby. Its windows were tinted, obscuring the passengers inside, making her feel like they were a pair of watching eyes sizing her up, judging her. Just then, Bill, a regular, strolled in, his hands shoved deep into his worn jacket pockets. He was just looking for a coffee, but the way he looked at Mia like he was about to piece together a puzzle that didn't make sense sent shivers down her spine. "You alright, kid?" he asked, concern etched on his weathered face. Maybe it was the way she was fidgeting, her hands trembling as she wiped down the counter over and over, or the way her eyes darted towards that black car, but at that moment, she felt exposed, naked under a spotlight. Could he see the truth lurking just beneath her skin? There was something about her father that was always off, the millionaire whose wealth seemed to hang around him like a thick fog. He was never around, always swamped by meetings that felt less like business and more like shadows sneaking around in the dead of night. Why? What was he hiding? Each question was a thorn in her heart, and tonight, she felt an urge to tear it all open. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Did you hear about the accident? Bill asked, pouring cream into his coffee, oblivious to the tremor in Mia's heart. That word accident hit her like a freight train. She remembered the headlines, her father's name linked to a scandal that shook their small town. Was it really an accident? Or was it a cover-up? Every pulse in her body screamed for answers. Gathering her courage, Mia leaned closer, a desperate whisper escaping her lips. What if I told you it's not what it seems? That maybe, just maybe, the truth about my father would change everything. His eyebrows shot up in surprise, and for a moment, the world outside faded. The diner fell silent, every sound hanging in the air between them like the taste of storm clouds before the downpour. But just as the question lingered, a siren shrieked in the distance, slicing through the tension like a knife, pulling her back into reality. What was she about to unleash? Curiosity sparked in Bill's eyes, a flicker of fear mixing in. What do you mean? He asked, barely above a whisper, leaning in. Mia's breath hitched. She was standing on the edge of a dark cliff, ready to leap, not knowing what lay below. But deep inside, she could feel the winds of change swirling, the secret threatening to break free into the light. Stars seemed to align in that moment, glowing brighter than ever before, teasing her with the possibility of the truth. But would she have the courage to reveal it? The clock continued ticking, mocking her silence. Just then, the diner door swung open with a rush of cold air, and a figure stepped inside. Mia's heart skipped a beat as she recognized the imposing form of her father, Charles. The sharp angles of his face were etched with worry, his usually immaculate suit slightly disheveled. It was as if he had come straight from a battlefield, the last person she expected to see at this hour. "Mia!" he called out, searching the room with frantic eyes before locking onto her. "We need to talk. Now." Bill's eyes widened in disbelief, then flicked between Mia and her father. "This isn't a good time," he said quietly, a warning lingering in the air. But Charles ignored him, his gaze fixed on Mia with an intensity that made her spine tingle. You shouldn't be here. They're looking for you. Mia's breath caught. Who's looking for me? She felt the walls closing in, the shadows jumping to life around her. The diner felt smaller, the flickering lights dimming as anxiety gripped her. People who want the truth to stay buried, he replied, stepping closer, his voice now a low hush. You've been asking too many questions. Bill shifted uncomfortably, sensing the charge in the air, and took a step back. I think I'll, get going, he muttered, raising his coffee cup as if it were a shield. No, wait. Mia called out, her heart pounding. She needed an ally, someone who could bear witness to the truth. But she also knew the look in her father's eyes, one of desperation mixed with fear. Why are you back? What's happening? Charles hesitated, a storm of emotions passing over his face. Then, in a moment of raw vulnerability, he reached out, gripping the edge of the counter. Mia, there's a lot you don't know. About me. About your mother. About everything we've lost. The words hung heavy in the air, weighted with unspoken tragedy. My mother? What do you mean? The piercing questions kept coming, one after another like a relentless tide. But before he could answer, the door swung open again. This time, two men in dark suits stepped inside, their presence filling the room with a palpable tension. They scanned the diner, fixing their gaze on Charles. Charles, one of them said, his voice low and cold as ice, we need to talk. This is about your daughter. Mia felt a chill slide down her spine. The electric tension began to crackle around them, and she instinctively took a step back, gripping the edge of the counter to steady herself. What do you want with her? The man smirked, arrogance dripping from his words. Let's just say we're here to make sure certain truths stay exactly where they belong, buried. Mia's pulse quickened, and panic fluttered in her chest. Was her father's secret darker than she had imagined? Was her life, her very existence at risk? Dad? She whispered, a lump forming in her throat. Charles's face hardened, the protective instinct flaring in his eyes. Get out of here, Mia. Now. But the panic inside her begged for answers. Why would anyone tie her life to a secret? And what had these men done to her father? As the gravity of the situation coiled around her, the shadows of betrayal and danger loomed larger than life. She could feel the impending storm, the walls closing in around her. But in that moment of chaos, would she run or stand her ground and face the truth? The air was thick with an impending confrontation, and the clock on the wall ticked ominously, as if counting down to a revelation that would change everything. What was her father hiding, and who were these men? A choice lay before her, one that could unravel the tangled web of secrets that surrounded her life. Mia's heart raced. The clock ticked on, and she could feel the weight of everything shifting. The air crackled, thick with anticipation and fear. Mia's heart drummed in her chest as the two men in suits moved toward her father, their polished shoes echoing ominously against the diner tiles. She watched them, her mind racing. They had a purpose, a mission she could sense all too clearly, and her father seemed to know it, too. Charles, the taller man said, his voice cloaked in menace. You need to come with us. There's no other way to put it. It's about your daughter. Things have escalated. Escalated? Charles shot back, his voice barely above a whisper, wires of tension running through his entire frame. You think I'm just going to let you take her? The second man smirked again, the kind of smile that suggested he enjoyed the sick game they were playing. We're not asking. We're telling. The decisions you make now will dictate everything. You need to think about her safety and your own. Mia's breath hitched again. Her mind whirled. She was drowning in questions, as each phrase coiled tighter around her throat. What on earth did these men want with her? And what truth had her father buried so deep? Mia glanced at Bill. He watched with wide eyes, his coffee cup trembling in his grasp, as if he could feel the unease tangling around them. "This isn't any of my business," he muttered, fading back into the shadows, desperately seeking the exit. "Mia." Charles's voice cut through the fog, and she turned to face him once more. The anguish in his eyes sliced into her heart. "I can't lose you. You have to trust me. I know you're scared, but you need to leave. Now. No questions." "Dad," she began, but he interrupted, urgency rising in his voice. "Just go. They won't stop until they find what they want. I'll protect you, but you can't be here." She felt the warmth of tears threatening to break free, a chaotic mixture of fear and betrayal swirling in the pit of her stomach. Everything she had believed about her family was crumbling. "You think sending me away will solve this? I need to understand." Before Charles could respond, the men stepped closer, their shadows looming. "You don't have time for this," the tall man snapped, his calm facade cracking. "Either she comes with us, or there's going to be hell to pay." Mia felt the walls of the diner closing in, the world outside slipping away. In the corner, windows framed a storm brewing outside, the skies darkening as if mirroring the chaos inside. Mia's instincts screamed at her to flee, to run and not look back. But paralyzing curiosity rooted her to the spot. Who were these men? What was so dangerous about the truth? Through the clamor in her mind, one thought emerged clearly, punctuated with the gravity of her father's terror. She took a step forward. "I want to let you take him. I want to," her voice echoed as Charles shifted, his face stealing into a mask of fierce determination. "You have to believe me, Mia. I would never let them hurt you." And then, like a dam bursting, the harsh ring of the diner phone shattered the tension. The sound sliced through the air, sharp and bold, a heavenly interruption. Mia's gaze darted to the receiver, her heart pounding even faster. "Answer it." A voice growled, demanding Charles's attention. "This is bigger than you realize." In that moment, everything hung in the balance as time warped around them. Would they take her father away? Would the call turn the tide of impending doom, or shatter the last remnants of safety she had? She had to know what awaited them on the other end of the line. With every nerve in her body on high alert, she reached for the phone. The truth was close, but was she ready to pay the price for it? Mia's fingers trembled as they wrapped around the receiver. It felt colder than the metal of the soda fountain. The diner, once so familiar, swirled with the unfamiliarity of dread and confusion. "Don't answer it." Charles barked, a desperate edge to his voice that twisted her stomach. The two men exchanged glances, their expressions hardened. "You're running out of time," the taller one pressed, stepping closer. "There's no way out of this, Charles. Ignoring it will only make it worse." Mia's heart raced. Each ring of the phone drummed a relentless beat in her ears, a countdown to some hidden consequence. But those consequences were too vague, too shadowy to grasp. She leaned in, placing the phone closer to her ear. "Hello?" She breathed, her voice fragile. Silence. The sound of static dripped into her ear. Had she imagined it? Was it her heartbeat she heard, pounding like a war drum against her ribcage? And then Mia. The voice was low and clipped, yet unmistakably familiar. It sent chills spiraling through her, twisting her insides into knots. "Mom." The line crackled, and she could almost hear the urgency in her mother's whisper. "Listen to me. You need to leave, right now, Mia, hang up." Charles screamed. "It's a trap. They've been watching us." In that split second, Mia's world spun. She wanted to tear at the fabric of chaos strangling them, the uncertainty of who was friend and who was foe. The truth was just beyond her reach, stretching like elastic, ready to snap. "Mia," her mother's voice resonated again, stronger. "They're not here to help. Remember what I told you. You must trust your instincts. They're playing a dangerous game. You're not safe." With each word, the walls felt like they were closing in tighter. Her mother's warnings echoed like a siren, threatening to drown out the noise of the diner, the clattering dishes, the muted conversations, everything fading into a haze. She could feel the weight of the moment pressing against her chest, almost suffocating. Her father was shouting at her to let go, but the urgency in her mother's voice anchored her. I can't. I need to know Mia. The growl from the taller man sliced through her thoughts. In a blur, Charles lunged forward, knocking her back slightly as he wrenched the phone from her grasp. You don't get to decide this for her. The taller man grinned, a chilling smile that did nothing to mask the menace in his eyes. You're making this harder than it needs to be, Charles. This is about more than just her. The clock is ticking. Then tell me what it is. Charles spat, his hands trembling. What do you want? Mia's heart sank. A thick silence enveloped them, charged with electricity. The tension was palpable, reverberating off the diner walls, and it felt like an unseen force was creeping closer, clawing at the truth they all desperately avoided. Then the overhead lights flickered, an omen that sent goosebumps racing down Mia's arms. A rumble of thunder from outside matched the tumult in her mind. It's time, the second man said, his voice suddenly gravelly and dark. The truth is here. What you learn next will change everything. With a jarring jolt, the phone slipped from Charles' hand, crashing onto the tile floor, shattering the moment's fragile stillness. Mia, go. He shouted, his eyes frantic. But Mia stood frozen, caught between her father's fierce gaze and the dark promise of revelation hanging over them. What truth? As the door of the diner swung wide open, revealing the storm outside, Mia's heart dropped. A figure appeared, silhouetted against the violent backdrop, and her body surged with instinctual fear. She realized then, with dawning clarity, she might have just unleashed something far worse than she ever imagined. Was it already too late to protect her father? To save herself? As the figure stepped forward, a single thought invaded her mind: would this encounter reveal the darkness her family had kept hidden, or would it plunge her deeper into a nightmare she couldn't escape? The door swung wide, and the storm blasted into the diner, sending a shiver through Mia's bones. The figure stepped into the light, revealing a woman draped in a long, dark trench coat. Her hair, slicked back, was illuminated by the flickering lights as she glanced around, pausing momentarily on Mia and Charles. Get away from her! Charles shouted, positioning himself protectively in front of Mia. His body was tense, muscles coiled, ready for something he couldn't yet define. Mama? Mia's voice trembled as she stepped forward slightly, the familiarity of the woman washing over her like a forgotten memory. But this wasn't her mother. This was someone else, a stranger wearing delusions of knowledge. The past is coming for you, Mia, the woman said, her voice low and filled with weight, like stones dropped in water. You must listen to me. What do you want? Charles roared, fists clenched, his eyes burning as he stood his ground. His fury was palpable, mixing with fear in the air. It's not what I want, she replied, her gaze shifting from Charles to Mia's desperate face. It's what she needs. Mia's heart raced. She could sense a whirlwind of emotions swirling inside her. Who was this woman? It felt like a thread pulled loose from a tapestry of her life, unraveling everything she thought she understood. Who are you? Mia found herself asking, her voice barely above a whisper, laden with vulnerability. A messenger, the woman said, her expression unchanging, her eyes piercing. What you're holding on to is a lie. Your mother, she was trying to protect you, but the truth is, she loved you too much to let you know. Stop it! Demanded Charles, taking a step forward, ready to confront whatever danger loomed behind her words. That's nonsense. Mia, I need you to trust me. Don't engage with her. But the woman continued, undeterred. There are things that matter more than your safety, Mia. Things about your father. There's a network of deceit around him. He's bound to a world you don't know. Mia, none of this makes sense. Just walk away. Charles's voice was an urgent plea, a life raft tossed into frigid waters. Just then, a loud crash rattled through the diner, as the storm raged on outside. The wind howled, creating a sound that sliced through any sanity left in the space. Mia felt her pulse quicken. What do you know? She pressed, gripped by a need for clarity, even as dread clawed at her chest. Everything, the woman said, drawing closer. He's involved in dangerous dealings. Drugs, threats. That's why your mother wanted you away from him. It's not just you at risk, it's your father too. You need to see the larger picture. Mia's confusion twisted into anguish. She felt the floor give way beneath her, as if the very foundation of her life was shifting. I can't, she whispered, shaking her head, tears forming in her eyes. Charles's hand gripped her shoulder, firm but gentle, grounding her amidst the chaos. Whatever she says, don't listen to her. But just as she opened her mouth to protest, thunder roared again, drowning out their voices. A terrible crack echoed through the diner as the lights flickered violently, plunging them into darkness. The moment felt infinite. An oppressive silence settled like a heavy cloak, enveloping them in anxiety and uncertainty. When the lights flickered back to life, the woman was gone. Only a whisper of her presence remained, like smoke dissipating in the air. What just happened? Mia breathed, feeling dizzy. Charles looked around wildly, frantic. We need to leave. Now. But the words hung suspended as frost crept into her veins. Just outside the diner, the shadows of the storm loomed larger than before, revealing a threat that wasn't just about secrets anymore. Something was hunting them. And they had no idea how deep the rabbit hole went. As Mia turned to face the door, a chill stabbed through her, realizing the choice before her was becoming clearer. Was running away the solution, or was it time to face the darkness that had been lurking in her life all along? Mia's pulse thudded against her ears as she stood there, wavering between instinct and curiosity. The diner, usually a hub of warmth and comfort, now felt like a cage closing in, its confines whispering the secrets that twisted her gut into knots. A part of her wanted to flee, to escape the shadows of her past. But another part, brave, stubborn, yearned to confront the truth. Charles, we have to. Mia started, but he interrupted. No. We're getting out of here. His voice was fierce, yet fear seeped into the edges of his words, blending desperation with determination. As he pulled at her arm, ready to drag her toward the back exit and away from this nightmare, Mia's eyes were drawn to the door. The storm raged outside, but something much worse loomed in the darkness beyond it. Shadows flickered ominously, like specters waiting to pounce. I can't just run, she insisted, shaking free of his grip. What if that woman was right? What if there is something I need to know? About your father? Charles's brow furrowed, his voice thick with worry. Mia, we don't have time for this. She is a stranger. We have to get away from here. The air was electric, buzzing with tension. Outside, the wind screeched like a banshee, rattling the diner's windows. Mia felt a mix of emotions: fear, anger, and a haunting curiosity that clung to her like fog. I have to know what it is she was talking about my father, she whispered, her heart racing with the weight of the unknown. Just then, the door swung open again, and the woman reappeared. She stood there, drenched but unyielding, a ghost returning from the abyss. You can't hide from the past, Mia, her voice resonated through the now familiar anguish. It will find you, and trust me, it's closer than you think. Get away. Charles shouted, stepping forward again, but this time the woman merely smiled, a twisted curl of lips that gave me a pause. No, Charles. I want to hear her out, Mia breathed, feeling the walls of her world shift. She took a tentative step toward the woman, whose gaze seemed to pierce right through her. You think you've been living in peace? The woman asked, tilting her head slightly. Your father's empire isn't built on stability. It's built on secrets, and they've only gotten darker since you left. Mia's breath hitched. What do you mean? There are debts to pay. Enemies to face. Your mother, she tried to protect you, and in turn, she suffocated you in lies. You need to know the truth, truly know it, before it finds you. Enough. Charles yelled, his voice shaking, scrambling for anything to make her leave. But it was clear she wouldn't just turn back to the storm and disappear. The air thickened as realization settled in Mia's gut. Tell me everything, she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Now. With a sly gaze, the woman stepped closer, the light reflecting in her eyes like shards of glass. There's a clock ticking, she warned. And trust me, it's counting down. Suddenly, a loud crash sent the diners jumping in their seats, glass shattering as a thunderous roar erupted outside. In the distance, a figure emerged from the storm, tall, imposing, moving toward the diner with predatory ease. Mia. We need to go. Now. Charles grabbed her arm again, this time more insistent. But her gaze was fixed on the figure that loomed closer, a cold dread unfurling within her. Who is that? She stammered, feeling the heaviness of inevitability bearing down on her. The culmination of all the lies, the woman whispered, her voice now an unsettling hush. The one who will destroy everything you hold dear. Mia's heart pounded in her chest as she struggled to piece together the truth that was now spilling into her life like ink on a page. The past had come to collect its debts, but they were just about to face the very heart of the storm, and just as she opened her mouth to act, the door flew off its hinges, revealing the shadowy figure stepping into the diner, an agent of chaos, a villain reshaping the narrative in blood. Mia, she heard Charles's whisper drown amidst the chaos, but it was too late. The storm was here, and it was far worse than anything she'd imagined. What was waiting behind the door would change everything she thought she knew. And as time stilled, the question loomed: was she ready to confront the monster in her story? The figure stepped into the diner, shaking off raindrops like a wolf emerging from the woods. Dark, storm-soaked clothes clung to a frame that radiated menace, twisting the atmosphere tighter. Mia's heartbeat thundered in her ears, drowning out the panic-stricken murmurs of the other diners, their eyes wide with fear, turning from the stranger to her and back again. Mia. Charles gripped her arm, his fingers digging in as he tried to pull her back toward the safety of the kitchen. We need to go now. But she couldn't move. The pressure of the man's gaze was magnetic, locking her in place. His eyes, cold as steel, seemed to recognize her in a way that unsettled her to her core. I've been waiting for you, came a low, gravelly voice that slithered through the air like smoke. You're more like your father than you know. But trust me, the truth is far from what you've been told. Who are you? Mia asked, her voice barely a whisper, the words more of a plea against the rising tide of dread. That he stepped closer, the floor cracking underfoot as if the building itself protested his presence. I'm here to settle accounts, Mia. You inherit a legacy that isn't just wealth, there's blood on those dollars. What do you mean? Tears prickled her eyes. The idea of her father, a man she barely remembered, painted with the same brush that seemed to shade this sinister stranger, sent chills down her spine. One way or another, you'll learn. But it's your choice how fast you get there. He leaned in, a predator tasting the air. The question is, are you willing to embrace it? The diner felt like it was tilting, reality warping under the weight of his words. Her mother's face flashed in her mind, the warm smile, the reassuring embrace, so different from the man standing before her. My mother, she wouldn't have let that happen. A sinister smile crept on his lips, further darkening his already shadowy presence. Ah, yes. The queen who tried to keep her king's secrets buried. She's kept you blind, Mia, but the truth is like a flood. It's coming. Suddenly, the diner's lights flickered, plunging them into intermittent darkness. Gasps echoed through the room, and the buzz of uncertainty filled the air like static before a storm. Mia could feel the rush of desperation rising around her. Charles, still holding her, looked toward the windows where sheets of rain beat down like drums. Mia, we need to leave. We can't let him get to you. There was a terror in his eyes that she had never seen before. Before she could answer, the stranger surged forward, pointing a long finger at Charles. "He can't protect you. Not from this." A rumble of thunder accompanied the flutter of the lights, illuminating the profound darkness in the man's eyes for an agonizing moment. In that heartbeat, everything shattered. The waitress, exuding an air of calm amidst chaos, cut through the tension with her voice, sharp as glass. "Enough. Leave them alone." It was an unexpected line drawn in the sand, and Mia blinked in confusion as the woman stepped forward, defying the force standing within the diner. "Is this true?" Mia shouted, turning to the waitress. "Do you know him?" The woman's gaze pierced through the shadows in the room. A battle of wills played out in silence. "I know what he is. And what he wants. But more importantly, Mia, what you must do next." In the chaos, the air thickened with tension as the figure withdrew slightly, assessing the situation. Mia felt the walls close in, closing her off from salvation. That it was now or never. She had to decide. Staring into the depth of the unknown, she gritted her teeth, her heart slamming in her chest. "Tell me what to do," she said, her voice steadied as the fate of her ties unraveled and shadows danced closer, while the past clawed at the present. One question loomed large in the tempest surrounding her: was she prepared to bear the burdens of a legacy too heavy for her shoulders? And deep within the storm, another truth was waiting to be unearthed, a dark confession that might shatter everything she believed about family and loyalty. There was an electric hush as the waitress stepped forward, her presence somehow commanding even in the face of such darkness. The dim light flickered, illuminating her determined expression. "Mia," she said, voice steady like the eye of a storm. "You need to know who you are. This man," she gestured toward the figure, "is not just anyone. He is connected to a world you've been kept away from." Mia felt a knot in her stomach twist tighter. "What do you mean? Who is he?" The waitress took a breath, collecting her thoughts. "His name is Victor Lark. Your father was tangled in a web of deals and debts, and now that he's gone, the repercussions are crashing in on you. But there's more to this legacy than money and power. If you're not careful, it could consume you." Victor laughed, a sound that sent shivers through the diner. "You think the truth is going to set her free? It only chains her further, darling." Charles tightened his grip on Mia, his eyes darting again towards the windows, drenched in sheets of rain. "Mia, we don't have time for this. We need to get out of here." But Mia shook her head with resolve. "No. I need to hear this." Victor stepped closer, looming over her like a dark cloud about to unleash a storm. "Your father was a coward, hiding the truth behind layers of deceit. You, Mia, are the last piece of his puzzle, and the choice before you isn't just to embrace a legacy, it's a choice of survival." The weight of his words sank into her bones, dragging her deeper into her family's past. Mia's mind raced. "So what do you expect me to do? Just accept whatever this is?" "Accept?" Victor scoffed. "No. You need to confront it. Blood flows heavier than water, Mia. You'll learn of alliances, enemies, and perhaps surprises." His lip curled as he spoke, every word laced with malice. Suddenly, the lights flickered again, and both the waitress and Victor froze. A tremor rippled through the ground, almost like a warning. Mia could feel the collective breath of the diner caught in a moment of distress, the silence almost suffocating. "Why are you here?" Mia asked, the words spilling out, frantic and charged. "Why now?" "Because, dear Mia," Victor replied smoothly, "you need to choose a side. The choice between ignorance and knowledge. You're endowed with a fortune, but also a target on your back. I'm merely here to illuminate your path." His gaze chilled her to the core. The waitress stepped closer, brushing past the trembling figures around her. "No, he's wrong. You must take control, Mia. Not just for you, but for those who look to you for strength." Her voice softened. "They've tried to silence me too. But you can be stronger than the shadows that claim your family." The truth hit Mia, raw and relentless. She was caught in a legacy she never asked for, one filled with darkness and danger. And now, with Victor looming like a specter, the weight of the unknown threatened to crush her. What if I don't want this? She challenged, a quiver in her voice despite her bravado. But you do, don't you? You want answers. Victor smirked, a glimmer of victory in his eyes. You want to know what your father did to earn this legacy. And darling, you will find out. Mia felt her heart thumping in her chest. The sweat of fear mingled with the rain-soaked dread as her mind swirled with thoughts of her mother, the truths buried deep, and the very real threat standing before her. The room spun, the stakes rising perilously high. She was standing on the brink of revelation, a chasm of decisions yawning before her, and she had no idea which way to leap. Choose wisely, Mia, Victor said softly, the menace creeping back into his voice. Everything hinges on this moment. As the storm raged outside, drowning the diner in darkness, another voice in her echoed, one that whispered of safety, of denial, urging her to turn away. But in the swirl of confusion and fear, Mia felt a spark of resolve igniting within her. The question loomed larger now than ever, sharp as glass. Would she step into the shadow or summon the courage to face it head-on? And deep inside, lurking just beneath the surface, was a chilling thought. What if embracing her legacy meant uncovering something she could never unlearn? Mia stood frozen, her heart starting to race like an engine coming to life. Victor's presence felt suffocating, each whispered word wrapping around her like the dense fog outside. The waitress, the embodiment of determination, was her only anchor in the storm swirling within. Mia, you must know that knowledge can be your weapon, the waitress urged, her voice a low intensity, wavering on the edge of desperation. But you need to act faster. They won't wait forever. Who are they? Mia asked, her voice trembling, barely breaking the air of tension that wrapped them. What do they want from me? That's the question, isn't it? Victor sighed dramatically, amusement playing in his eyes. They want what any hunter wants a prey to dominate. And my dear, you're the most enticing target in the game. The weight of his words settled around her like a thick fog. She cast a glance at Charles, whose worried eyes mirrored her panic. The diner patrons were now fading shadows, their whispers like distant echoes as the thunder crashed outside, swallowing her sanity. Think, Mia. The waitress pressed, her gaze relentless. You have to decide. Are you going to let them control you, or will you step into the light and take command? Victor's laughter burst forth, rattling the very plates on the tables. Control. What a quaint notion. I'd hate for you to take yourself too seriously, darling. The truth is often hidden behind a veil of lies, and once revealed, it cannot be unseen. Mia felt as if the ground beneath her might swallow her whole. So what's the truth? She demanded, her voice breaking. What's so important that I must risk everything for it? Ah, but risk breeds reward, Victor chided, leaning closer, invading her personal space, his eyes glinting with wicked anticipation. Your father was a man of secrets. Treachery runs through your blood. You think you're just learning a family legacy, but it's much darker than that. Death follows this legacy, and it won't hesitate to claim you. His words hammered at her chest, knitting fear into her veins. You can stay ignorant, Mia. But know this, knowledge also makes you a threat to those who wish to keep these truths buried. The waitress stepped between them, her voice rising over the horror looming in the air. You don't have to listen to him. Find your strength, Mia. You have allies who can help you navigate this treacherous path. I can help you, but it must start with trust. A deep rumble of thunder drowned out the strange hush that settled again. Mia wrestled with her thoughts. A ceiling of unseen threats loomed above her, and she felt the weight of destiny pushing her closer to the brink. Trust? I hardly know you, Mia spat back, but the glimmer of hope inside her began to flicker like a candle in a storm. Why should I believe either of you? Because this is not just about you anymore, the waitress answered, her tone fierce. It's about your future and the shadows that want to ruin it before you can even understand what it means. They'll come for your power, your place in this world. Power? Victor echoed with a sneer. She's yet to grasp the meaning of the word. But, Mia, you'll find that the dark truths can be intoxicating. Power can lead the unprepared to destruction, but for the cunning, it can carve a legacy that lasts. The dim lights flickered ominously overhead as the storm howled outside. Mia could feel something shifting within her. The fear pulsed strong but was battling with a storm of adrenaline. Ultimately, what she knew or didn't know seemed trivial next to the very real danger that surrounded her now. Do it. Ask the question, Mia, Victor beckoned, a smile creeping across his lips. Dig deeper and perhaps the truth might just set you free. Or destroy you. Choices, darling. Mia's pulse quickened. The room felt electric as thoughts raced through her mind. She had to act now. The shadows were closing in. Then tell me, what are they planning? She demanded, adrenaline making her voice sharp. What do you know about my father's dealings? Victor's smirk widened, but just as he opened his mouth to respond, a deafening crash shattered the stillness from outside, drawing their attention. The windows rattled in their frames, and Mia felt a jolt of cold fear run through her. A loud thud reverberated, echoing as if announcing the arrival of something sinister. What was that? Charles whispered. Victor turned to face the noise, the laughter fading from his eyes. It seems the storm has brought uninvited guests. Mia's thoughts spiraled. Who or what was out there? The truth of her father's life might be the least of her worries now. And as they all turned toward the sound, that chilling whisper returned in her mind. Would she confront the shadows closing in, or would they consume her first? As the last shreds of daylight were swallowed by the tempest outside, Mia felt a reckless urge surge within her. She stood at the epicenter of chaos, her father's stormy gaze locking with hers, and Victor's cold smirk etched into her memory like a scar. It was time for the storm to stop raging within her head, time to define her truth before any more shadows devoured her. Enough games. She shouted, her voice slicing through the confusion. The energy in the diner shifted, the weight of her declaration electrifying the air. The waitress's eyes widened, a flicker of approval dancing across her features. Mia, Charles began, panic breaking through his steely facade. This isn't safe. Neither is ignoring this anymore. She snapped back, her heart racing with determination. It's my choice, Dad. And I need to know what this man represents. The thunder outside broke, but it was no match for the storm surging within her. Victor's smile faltered, his calculated demeanor revealing glimmers of concern infused with sly intrigue. Brave girl, he said softly, but bravery can lead to regret. What's there to regret? Mia countered, stepping forward, unwavering. Is it worse than living in shadows? Just then, a crash echoed again, this time accompanied by the creak of the diner's door, flung wide by the winds. Barely standing against the storm, another silhouette emerged, soaked and breathless. It was the last person she expected, her mother, dripping rain yet aflame with urgency and fire in her eyes. Mia! Her mother cried, desperation trailing her footsteps as if the chaos behind her threatened to unravel everything. You have to trust me. That man, he is here to claim what's yours. Victor broke in, amusement dancing on his lips once more. Aren't you tired of secrets? Time to see where the dark waters of your legacy lead. Mia braced herself, feeling precariously balanced between grim truths and cherished memories. Mom. She whispered, uncertainty dawning a part of her terrified to hear what would unfold, another restless for the answers. Mia, listen. Her mother implored, stepping closer and cutting through the tension. Victor is tangled in everything. In this legacy, in your father's past. He's a danger we buried for a reason. Mia felt that storm swell again, her head spinning. But if you've always known, she challenged her mother, "Why didn't you tell me? Why shield me from this?" "Because we thought we could protect you." Her mother's voice quaked, the power of her emotions crashing through. "But the stakes are higher now. You're caught between worlds, Mia. You need to decide who to become." Victor's cold laughter filled the room, unsettling her nerves. "Ah, decisions, decisions." He stepped toward her, a predator closing in. "The legacy you stand to inherit is not just a name, dear girl. It's steeped in power and blood. But your ignorance was the key to your safety. No more." Mia shouted, the walls closing in around them. She stared down this man with every ounce of courage she could muster. "What do you want from me?" He leaned in closer, invading her space with suffocating confidence. "I want to reveal the truth, but beware, embracing the truth means letting go of the life you had. Are you prepared to sacrifice what you thought was safe?" A torrent of emotions crashed through her. She glanced at her father, his pleading look nearly breaking her resolve. Then at her mother, a woman whose fierce love had also birthed lies, shackling her to a past filled with dread. "I don't want to live in fear anymore," Mia declared, steadying her breath. "I want to know what my father did. I want to know where I fit. It's my turn to choose." As the storm raged outside, Mia finally saw through the veil of chaos. Her path lay exposed, fraught with darkness but brimming with the potential to claim her identity, to stand against the shadows. Victor's gaze glinted with amusement as he stifled a laugh. "Very well, Mia. The choice has always been yours. But no, once you step forward, there's no turning back." The waitress stepped forward again, her voice firm and unwavering. "You're stronger, Mia, than this monster wants you to believe. Trust yourself. Every decision moving forward stems from your courage to face the truth." With hearts pounding and the diner still shaking under the weight of the storm, it was time to take a leap of faith. Mia squared her shoulders, looked straight into Victor's eyes, and declared, "I'll claim my legacy. But I'll do it on my terms." Outside, the thunder seemed to roar in agreement, the storm dimming just enough for a faint glimmer of hope to push through. As the haunting specter of secrets closed in, the clock now ticking, Mia took a step forward embracing the pulse of her new reality. She was ready, and with that resolute choice, the storm raged on, pushing ever closer to the consequences that lay ahead. Now, here's your moment if you're invested in a story, if you're eager for more intense plots and unforgettable characters, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait even one more second to share this conclusion. Hit the like button to fuel the algorithm and flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Let us keep the conversation alive and engage with each other because your voice matters. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to dive into this thrilling world. Every action counts. Your support keeps the stories coming.